You mentioned to me that this quarterback, Jeremy Heklinski, I believe
Yes,
he's a Wake Forest product, is visiting.
that's the word. I don't know who had that uh, story first. I'm not on the recruiting beat, but my understanding is he is scheduled to visit this week if he hasn't already. He was originally part of the 2024 class, so he's young. He's undersized. I've not watched a lot of tape of his. He was not recruited at a real high level. According to 247 Sports, his only offers out of high school were Central Florida, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, and Eastern Kentucky. He's listed at 5'11", a buck 85. So I don't know. I really don't even know if there's a connection to Tim Lester in Iowa. Um, but he's a multi-sport athlete. Sounds like he's a mobile guy, a mobile quarterback. They lost Sullivan, and maybe they're anticipating losing somebody else. I don't know why you'd bring him in. I don't know why you'd bring a kid like this in for a visit unless you think you're going to be losing somebody else. So my anticipation is they think they're going to lose someone else, whether it be, I hope it's not Hank Brown and Jimmy Sullivan because they just got Hank Brown and Jimmy Sullivan. But I would think four is enough. Don't you think, Mark? Aren't four quarterbacks enough with the new scholar roster limits?
Yeah, that should be able to, as long as you feel comfortable with any of them taking snaps in a meaningful game at some
I will.
point.
I won't be surprised if Jackson Stratton leaves. And hey, Jackson Stratton came in and played decently well for Iowa in several quarters of play last year. Started against Maryland and won that game. They won that game out in College Park. So he might have enough on tape where he can go into the transfer portal and at least get interest from a G5, like where he came from Colorado State, where he never really played more than a few snaps. He might have had shown enough on tape where he can get a role at a, you know, Miami, Ohio, or a San Diego State and start right away. I mean that's possible. So I'm not going to sit here and make guesses about his future, but I would not be surprised if someone like Stratton leaves. That to me that would make the most sense. If Hank Brown or Jimmy Sullivan leaves, one of those guys, that would be surprising. But guys do it now right away. This kid's doing it. He was part of the 24 class. He's already in the portal.
Yeah. Now, if a Hank Brown or a Jimmy Sullivan sees that they're buried behind the other and Stratton, then you can see them transferring.
Yeah, that's I guess. I guess. I mean, I don't know where Hank Brown is eligibility wise. I know Jimmy Sullivan's a true freshman. Both those guys got here before last year's bowl prep.
I would doubt, considering the talent levels of the guys we just mentioned and what they have done thus far, especially with Brown and Stratton, meaning that they don't have these long resumes, but they have stepped on the field in meaningful games against conference opponents and played. That there's much separation. I doubt if there's this clear delineation between 2, 3, 4 right now. I would
Well,
doubt it.
yeah. Well, you're probably right. Robbie Ashford and Deshaun Purdy. So you got two transfers that transferred into Wake this past off season. So it sounds like those are the guys that will be starting. So Eklinski's only been there a year, but he apparently wants out. And I'm reading this on Deacon Illustrated. So when he was initially reported to be leaving Wake Forest, which wasn't more than just a week and a half ago. Let's see. I can just read some of this to people. So source told Deacons Illustrated, first reported by Hayes Fawcett, with all 4 years of eligibility remaining, only spent one season with the Deacons and redshirted. Only action was taking 3 snaps at the end of a blowout loss at Miami late in the season. And 5 months ago, Heklinski was seen as Wake's quarterback of the future under Dave Clawson. Wake's previous coaching staff was bringing in Ethan Hampton, a transfer from Northern Illinois, as perceived competition for Heklinski. But Heklinski was thought to have a bright future. Clawson resigned about 2.5 weeks after the season ended. Jake, is it Dickert? How you pronounce his last name?
Yes.
Comes over from Wazoo. That brought about a different offensive system, and Robbie Ashford, Deshaun Purdy. And let's see here. After Saturday's scrimmage, it was made clear by Dickert that the Demons' passing game needs work. Barring Wake Forest adding another transfer quarterback and before the start of full camp, Ashford and Purdy will be in a 2-man battle for the starting job before Kennesaw State on August 29th. Portal window runs until the 25th this week, of course. So, Yeah, I don't know about other than sounds like he was maybe even a fringe 4-star coming out of high school initially.
Listen to Robbie Ashford's journey, baseball player in addition to football, Oregon,
Yeah.
Auburn, South Carolina, now Wake.
Yeah, I mean, it's college football nowadays. I say that in so many videos. So many videos I say, well, this is just how it is now. When will I stop saying that, Mark? Do I just have to stop saying that?
Yeah,
People
because we're at some point going to just all know this is the way it is now. We don't need
It's
to
like
point it out.
I sometimes have to feel like I have to apologize for people like, well, this is how it is. Because I say, well, do they have enough money for this kid? And people are like, I hate you for saying that. It's like, well, that's how it is. Whether you like it or not, they have to have the money. And guys want to know that they have a chance to play. You can only play one quarterback, or at least that's where most places you only play one quarterback. So
I sized up the Nico class, which is 2023, against his competitors to see, okay, how does this look a couple years later? Nico being the number 2 quarterback in the nation to Arch Manning. 8 of the top 20 are still with their original teams.
yeah, and David brings up that this new analyst. Remember, he did come from Wake Forest, so and there's somebody I haven't spoken with either. We'll get a chance to talk to him before fall camp, but there's a connection there. I'm guessing, even though I don't know when he was at Wake. I'm assuming he was part of the previous staff.
And of course, Corey, before we bid goodbye, Iowa fans are going to get a look at an Hawkeye that for me, this is the most surprising personnel move of the offseason because I thought more of John Nestor and his future at Iowa. But again, Iowa fans will see him in enemy colors this year.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I when he entered the portal, not that he guys don't have to stay out. I mean, this whole idea that you can't transfer within the conference. I mean, Price Sanford, Iowa basketball, just transferred from Iowa to Nebraska. I mean, does that make him the enemy? I'll root against him, I guess. I don't hate the kid for it. That's just how it is. I'm going to root against him when he plays Iowa. But yeah, John Nestor ends up at Minnesota. It's a weird situation. His dad got hired after John Jr. got the scholarship at Iowa. He's there about a year, and then West Branch, which is just outside of Iowa City, hired his dad as their head coach. It sounds like his dad, John Sr., has had a lot of head coaching jobs, and there was some drama there. Let's just say that he resigned, and it wasn't more than a couple months later that John Nestor Jr., entered the transfer portal. And I thought there was some scuttle that maybe he would end up back closer to family. I guess he's got family down in Tennessee. Maybe that was what I heard as well. He ends up in Minneapolis for the Gophers. So I don't know why that didn't work out. Guys transfer for a number of reasons. It's not always just playing time. It's not always just because they're not getting paid enough. Do you really think John Nestor is going to Minnesota, Mark, because they're paying him more than Iowa? I really don't think that's probably what it is. But they took him, and I'm not surprised by that. I think, and I've mentioned this on videos, Mark, they're going to be more, we're seeing it at Iowa, they're going to be more and more young players that jump in the portal regularly than you would ever expect. Not because of family situations, not because of necessarily money, but because of opportunity. And some people may think that's reverse logic. Well, why wouldn't you stick around? You're not even giving it enough time to see if you're competitive. But a lot of these young athletes, I think, are going to be looking at situations. Maybe that's what happened with John Nestor. Maybe that's what happened with Gavin Hoffman. Hey, Gavin Hoffman just committed to Missouri. Okay. Gavin Hoffman comes here a year, doesn't sniff the depth chart, but he was a 4-star out of high school. What does he do? He jumps in the portal, immediately gets high major attention, and he transfers to Missouri. So he doesn't like what he sees here. He doesn't like what's happening, some way, shape, or form. John Nestor apparently the same. And they think, well, why sit here and waste years of eligibility? I'm still young enough. It's like drafting a young athlete, and a franchise is looking at the future, saying, "Hey, this guy was a year or two removed from being a high major recruit, and he's got these years of." More schools will take you, I think. Especially Power 4 schools will be willing to make that investment in someone, whether it be financial or just for a scholarship spot on the roster, if you have 3 to 4 years of eligibility remaining. So that may be what's happening with a lot of these young guys.
And think of it this way as well. These athletes think a lot of themselves, right?
I
That's one
think
of the
so.
reasons why they've achieved well. They've number one been told at every stage of their athletic career that they're the best because most likely they are the best in their hometown and up through the ranks. Number two, to play at this kind of level, you have to be confident. Therefore, and have to think highly of themselves. And based on my interaction with coaches, they have told me athletes generally, yes, overrate themselves.
Yep.
And therefore, if things are not working out from a depth chart standpoint where you are, you've got to be thinking with that type of mindset, things have to be better somewhere else. Somebody out there has to see my talent, and there has to be a better situation for me elsewhere.
Yeah. So that could be what's happened with Nestor and with Hoffman. And now Joey Van Wetzingen, I don't know if we talked about him. He entered the portal here, I think, week and a half ago. Joey Van Wetzingen was a pretty well thought of recruit from in-state. His younger brother, Rusty, transferred out, went to Central Michigan during the offseason. And I think that's where Joey's going to end up. And I just saw earlier today, Joey has scheduled a visit with Central Michigan. So apparently those two are pretty close. And he even cited his brother's departure from the program when he announced he's entering the portal. So, and he's young. I mean, he just got here. This is his first year, and he's already in the portal. So circumstances change. Maybe I shouldn't say I'd be shocked if Hank. Should I be shocked if Hank Brown enters the portal tomorrow, or if Jimmy Sullivan enters the portal? This is the new college football, Mark. That's what it is.